3 a.m., Louise Hay awoke with a strange feeling, like something invisible had whispered a number in her ear. 25,000. She grabbed the notepad beside her bed and wrote it down. She didn't know why. She just wrote, and what happened in the next 3 minutes completely changed our understanding of financial manifestation. Have you ever felt like the universe was trying to hand you something, but you didn't know how to receive it? I need to tell you a story. A story no one else will tell you. Because what we discovered about Louise Hay and financial codes, well, it should have stayed secret. But I can't stay silent anymore. Louise Hay passed away in 2017. Everyone knows that. What almost no one knows is that 3 months before she passed, she made a discovery that shook everything we knew about material manifestation. A discovery about numbers, about frequencies, about digital portals, about how you can open your digital payment app right now and see $25,000 appear in a way that will leave you speechless. You might be thinking, that's impossible. Louise Hay never knew what a digital payment app was. And you're right, she never did. But what she discovered transcends any technology we know. Let me explain how this works in practice. In May 2017, Louise was reviewing her notes on financial affirmations. Decades of research, thousands of documented cases, people who manifested anywhere from $500 to $500,000 using her techniques. But there was a pattern she had never noticed before, a numerical pattern. All the fastest financial manifestations, the ones that happened in minutes, not months, had something in common. People didn't just visualize, they performed a specific physical action involving numbers. They wrote, they typed, they transferred energy through codes. Louise called this a digital energy portal. The idea that our intention can be amplified exponentially when combined with specific numerical systems. And here's the part that will make you question everything. Louise discovered that the more digital and immediate the system, the more powerful the manifestation. Imagine if she knew about digital payment apps. But wait, maybe she knew something even bigger. Louise left behind a journal her family kept private until 2023. In this journal, she described a technique she called quantum abundance transfer. The technique was simple, scary simple. First, you choose a specific amount, not just any amount, an amount that resonates with your current frequency of need. For most people struggling financially, that number is $25,000. Second, you access your banking app at 3:33 a.m., 11:11 a.m., or 10:22 p.m., times when numerical synchronicity is strongest. Third, you go to the digital payment section, but not to send, to do something different. Louise discovered that the simple act of typing the desired amount into the digital payment field and focusing intensely for 180 seconds creates a monetary frequency that the universe recognizes as a command. You type $25,000. You focus. You feel the energy of the money already being yours. And then you wait. But you don't wait passively. You wait with the absolute certainty that in the next few days, that amount will come to you in a way you never imagined. It could be a forgotten payment. It could be an unexpected opportunity. It could be someone who owes you money and decides to pay you right now. The first person to test this was Margaret Chen, Louise's assistant. She was struggling financially. Rent overdue. Past due electricity bill. Total despair. Margaret followed the instructions. Exactly. Digital payment app open. $25,000 typed. 180 seconds of total focus. 2 hours later, she received a call. A freelance project she had quoted 6 months ago and never heard back from. The client wanted to close the deal. Amount, exactly $25. Coincidence? Maybe. But wait until you hear about James, about Marina, about dozens of other people who tested it. They all followed the same protocol. They all manifested the exact amount in a maximum of 72 hours. Some in just 3 minutes. How is this possible? Louise had a theory. She believed that the digital payment app acts as a quantum portal. When you type in an amount and focus with pure intention, you're not just messing around on your phone. You're sending a specific frequency to the field of abundance. The app becomes an antenna. Your intention becomes the signal, and the universe responds at the same frequency. I know how this sounds. Impossible, fantastical, crazy. But answer me this. Have you ever had that strange feeling when you're on your phone and suddenly get a call from someone you were thinking about? Or when you're browsing social media and see exactly the content you needed to see? That's not coincidence. That's digital synchronicity. And Louise discovered how to hack this synchronicity for financial manifestation. Her protocol is specific. Every detail matters. The time you do it, the amount you choose, the way you breathe while you type, the mental state you maintain during those 180 seconds. All of this creates an energy signature that the universe recognizes as a legitimate request for abundance. But there's a detail Louise emphasized. This only works if you really need it. If your need is genuine. If you're at a point where that money would make a real difference in your life. The universe doesn't respond to greed. It responds to authentic need. And there's another important detail. You can't tell anyone you're doing this. At least not in the first 72 hours. Louise discovered that talking about the technique before it manifests disrupts the energy field. It's like you're building a frequency, and by prematurely verbalizing it, you disperse it. Silence is part of the protocol. Now, before I teach you exactly how to do it, I need to tell you about what happened to Louise herself when she first tested this. It was June 2017. Louise was going through a difficult financial time. Not because she didn't have money, but because she had invested everything in a charity project that wasn't yielding returns. She needed $25,000 to keep the project running for another 3 months. At 10:22 p.m. on a Thursday, Louise opened her banking app, navigated to the digital payment section, typed $25,000, and focused. For 180 seconds, she visualized that money not as something she wanted, but as something she already had. She felt the texture of the bills. She felt the relief of knowing the project would continue. She felt the gratitude of being able to help more people. In the 3rd minute, something extraordinary happened. Her phone rang. It was a publisher from a major publishing house. They wanted to buy the translation rights for one of her books, for 15 countries. The offer, a precise $25,000. Louise was silent for almost a minute. Then she asked, "Why are you calling me now? It's almost 11 p.m. The editor's response left her speechless. "I can't explain it. I was at home, watching TV, and suddenly, I had an inexplicable urge to call you. As if something was pushing me to make this offer today." Louise understood instantly. The technique had worked. But it hadn't just worked. It had created such a strong synchronicity that it literally moved another person to act in a way they couldn't explain themselves. In the following days, Louise tested variations of the technique. Different amounts, different times, different mental states. And she discovered something even more impressive. The technique works best between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. Not because these times are magical, but because that's when our rational mind is quieter and our intuition is more active. She discovered that amounts ending in 0, like $25,000, $30,000, $15,000, work better than broken amounts, like $23,447 or $31,283. And she discovered something that changed everything. If you do this for 3 consecutive days, at the same time, the power of manifestation multiplies exponentially. Louise called this the protocol of the 3 portals. Day 1, you plant the frequency. Day 2, you amplify the frequency. Day 3, you materialize the frequency. After the third day, you stop completely and wait for the manifestation to arrive. Louise tested this protocol with dozens of people, cases she meticulously documented, because she knew she was discovering something revolutionary. Sarah, a 34-year-old nurse, used the protocol to manifest $25,000 to pay her father's medical debts. Manifestation, 18 hours. A distant relative she hadn't seen in years appeared with an inheritance she didn't even know existed. Roberto, an engineer unemployed for 8 months, used the protocol to manifest $30,000 to survive until he found a new job. Manifestation, 4 days. A company that had rejected his resume 6 months earlier called offering exactly the amount he had visualized as his first few months' salary. Each case documented by Louise had the same characteristic. The manifestation arrived through completely unexpected channels, but always in a way that made perfect sense for the person's specific need. As if the universe not only heard the request, but found the most elegant and synchronic way to fulfill it. Louise was fascinated. She had spent decades studying manifestation, but she had never seen such consistent and rapid results. And then she discovered why. A digital payment app isn't just a payment system. It's a system that operates 24/7, connecting millions of people in real time through instant numerical codes. It is literally a quantum network of energy exchange. When you type an amount into the app and focus with intention, you're not just interacting with an application. You're connecting with an energy matrix that processes billions of financial transactions daily. You're hacking the collective financial unconscious. Louise realized she was facing the most powerful financial manifestation tool ever created. A tool that combines digital technology with quantum principles in a way she had never seen before. And then she did something that changed everything. She decided to teach this technique to a select group of people, not as a course, not as a product, but as a final experiment before leaving. Louise knew her days were numbered. The cancer had returned. She had little time. And she wanted to leave a legacy that went beyond her books and affirmations. She wanted to leave a technique that would truly transform people's financial lives immediately. The group was small, 12 people, all experiencing severe financial difficulties, all skeptical about instant manifestation. Louise taught the complete protocol, every detail, every nuance, every specific timing, and then she did something unexpected. She asked everyone to do the protocol together, at the same time, with the same amount, $25,000. It was August 11th, 2017, 10:22 p.m. 12 people in different locations opened the app simultaneously. They typed $25,000 and focused for 180 seconds with the same intention to manifest that amount to resolve their respective financial crises. What happened in the following 72 hours defied any logical explanation. All 12 people manifested not only $25,000, but amounts close to or exactly that number. Some in hours, others in days, but all within the time frame Louise had predicted, and all through completely different and unexpected channels. Lisa received an email from an advertising company wanting to use her photo, which had been on the internet for years, in a national campaign. Amount $4,800. Marcus discovered he was entitled to a life insurance policy from an uncle who had passed away years ago, and that the family didn't know existed. Amount $25,300. Fernanda had her startup selected for an acceleration program that offered exactly $25,000 in seed funding. Each story was unique, but they all had the same pattern, a synchronicity so perfect that it seemed orchestrated by a higher intelligence. Louise was silent when she received all the reports. Then she smiled and said something that none of the participants ever forgot. "You have just discovered that there is no difference between genuine need and universal abundance. The universe knows no scarcity. Only we do. 2 weeks later, Louise Hay passed away. But before she left specific instructions for the protocol to be shared with people who really needed it. Not as a commercial product, but as a final gift to humanity. A gift that can transform your financial situation in a matter of minutes. If you've come this far, it wasn't by chance. Something brought you to this information exactly at the moment you need it. And now you have a choice. You can ignore all this as fantasy. You can continue struggling against financial difficulties the way you always have. Or you can open the app right now and test if Louise Hay was right. Second part, natural continuation. But before you do that, I need to teach you exactly how Louise did it. Because the details matter. Each step has a specific scientific and energetic reason. And if you miss a single detail, the technique simply doesn't work. First, the timing. Louise Hay discovered there are 3 windows of opportunity each day when energetic resistance is at its lowest. 3:33 a.m., the time when the fewest people are awake, meaning less noise in the morphogenetic field. 11:11 a.m., the classic numerical portal, when synchronicity is naturally amplified. 20:22 p.m., the time Louise considered most powerful, combining mental stillness with nighttime manifestation energy. You choose one of these 3 times, not all of them, just the one that resonates with your natural rhythm. Second, the amount. It can't be just any number. Louise found that amounts ending in 1,000, like 15,000, 25,000, 30,000, create a round frequency, easier for the universe to process. But here's the secret few know. The amount needs to be exactly 2.5 times greater than your actual need. If you need $10,000, you visualize $25,000. If you need $12,000, you visualize $30,000. Why? Because Louise discovered the universe always rounds down when it comes to material manifestation. It's as if there's a 60% energy tax lost in translating from the mental to the physical plane. When you ask for 2.5 times more, you receive exactly what you need. Third, the preparation. 1 hour before your chosen time, you turn off all phone notifications. You go to a place where you won't be interrupted, and you do something Louise called vibrational cleansing. You grab pen and paper, and you write 3 times. I release all financial resistance that exists within me. Then you tear the paper into tiny pieces and throw it away. This signals to your subconscious that you are genuinely ready to receive abundance. Fourth, the execution. At the exact chosen time, you open your banking app, navigate to the digital payment app, and then take a deep breath 3 times. In the amount field, you type the number you've defined. But don't confirm anything. You just type it and leave it on the screen. Now comes the most important part, the 180 seconds of focus. Louise discovered there are 3 phases within these 180 seconds. First, 60 seconds. You look at the number on the screen and mentally repeat, "This money is already mine. This money is already with me. This money is already part of my reality." Second 60 seconds. You close your eyes and visualize not the money arriving, but you already having used that money to solve what you need to solve. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Feel the lightness of no longer having that worry. Last 60 seconds. You open your eyes, look again at the number on the screen, and mentally say, "Thank you, universe. Thank you for this money that is already on its way." Then you close the app and completely forget you did it. This last step is crucial. Louise emphasized, the universe works in silence. If you keep checking, demanding, doubting, you interrupt the process. It's like planting a seed and then constantly digging it up to see if it's growing. You kill the plant. So you do the protocol and forget. Live your life normally. And pay attention to the signs, because the money will arrive, but rarely in the way you imagine. Anna Paula did the protocol visualizing $30,000 at 22:22 on a Tuesday. On Thursday, she received a call from a law firm informing her she was entitled to a tax refund from previous years that she didn't even know existed. Amount $29,450. Carlos did the protocol visualizing $25,000 at 11:11 on a Saturday. On Monday, a client who had canceled a project 2 years ago reappeared wanting to reactivate the work with upfront payment. Amount exactly $25. Juliana did the protocol visualizing $20,000 at 3:33 a.m. that same afternoon. She discovered that her shares in a company she didn't even remember owning had appreciated dramatically. She sold everything and received $19,800. Each case followed the same pattern. The money arrived through channels that already existed in the person's life, but were dormant or forgotten. Louise believed this happens because the protocol doesn't create money out of thin air. It activates financial opportunities that already exist in your energy field, but that you couldn't access. It's as if you have several abundance faucets in your life, but they're all closed. The digital payment app protocol simply opens those faucets. Now, there are some important rules that Louise established. Rule 1. You can only do the protocol once a month. If you try to do it more often, you overload the system, and it stops working. Rule 2. You cannot do it for other people. The technique only works with your own genuine need. Rule 3. You cannot do it if the money is for something that could harm you or others. The universe has an automatic, ethical filter. Rule 4. If you receive the money, you need to spend at least 10% of it helping someone in need. This keeps the energy circulating. Louise tested these rules exhaustively. Whenever someone tried to circumvent any of them, the protocol simply didn't work. It's as if the universe had programmed the technique with an automatic code of ethics. But there's another detail that Louise discovered that can multiply the effectiveness of the protocol: the power of groups. Remember the 12 people who did the protocol together? Louise discovered that when 2 or more people do the protocol simultaneously, with complementary, non-competitive intentions, the power increases exponentially. She called this the quantum synergy effect. For example, if you and 2 other people are experiencing financial difficulties, you can agree to do the protocol at the same time, on the same day, but each with your specific amount. The combined energy creates a much more powerful manifestation wave than any individual effort. But beware, this only works if all the people involved have genuine needs and pure intentions. If one person is doing it out of greed or curiosity, they sabotage the process for everyone. Louise documented a striking case of the synergy effect. 3 sisters who were about to lose their family home did the protocol together. Each visualized $15,000, a total of $45,000 that they needed. 2 hours later, all 3 received a call from a television producer who wanted to make a documentary about their family's history. Amount offered: exactly $45,000. The producer said he found the family through a seemingly random online search he did in the middle of the night. Unable to explain why he was specifically searching for families in similar situations, Louise was fascinated by this case because it showed that the protocol not only works individually, but can hack other people to act synchronistically for the benefit of whoever is manifesting. It's as if the technique creates a synchronicity network, encompassing people completely unaware of the process. This led Louise Hay to an even more extraordinary discovery. The protocol works better with people who have compatible financial blood types. She discovered that people with similar personality patterns, or who have gone through similar life experiences, can mutually amplify the effectiveness of the technique. Louise Hay began creating manifestation groups based not on friendship or geographical proximity, but on financial energetic compatibility. A group of indebted nurses who did the protocol together all manifested values between $20,000 and $30,000 in less than a week. A group of struggling small business owners who did the protocol simultaneously all received unexpected partnership or investment proposals, totaling exactly the amounts they had visualized. Each group of energetic compatibility had much faster and more precise results than individual efforts. But Louise Hay noticed something even deeper. The protocol was teaching people about the real nature of abundance. People who did the technique and received the money began to understand that abundance isn't about attracting things from outside. It's about unlocking resources that already exist in the energy field of your life. The money that arrived through the protocol always came from sources that, in some way, were already connected to the person. A forgotten payment, an unclaimed right, an opportunity that had gone unnoticed. Louise Hay realized she was teaching people to see their own hidden abundance, and that completely changed these people's relationship with money. They stopped seeing abundance as something scarce that needed to be conquered, and began to see it as something abundant that needed to be recognized. This shift in perspective caused them to attract financial opportunities in a much more natural and constant way, even without using the technique. The digital payment app protocol was working as a financial awakening, a way to reprogram the subconscious to recognize abundance instead of scarcity. In her last days, Louise Hay said something that became the synthesis of all her discoveries. We don't attract money. We allow the money that is already ours to manifest in physical reality. The difference is subtle, but revolutionary. She believed that each person is born with an unlimited cosmic budget. But education, traumas, limiting beliefs create blockages that prevent access to this budget. The digital payment app protocol works like a master key that bypasses these blockages and allows direct access to the personal cosmic budget. That's why the technique only works with genuine needs. Because genuine need is the password that the universe recognizes as authorization to access the cosmic budget. When you really need money to solve something important in your life, you're not asking the universe. You're withdrawing from what is already yours by spiritual right. Now, before you test this, let me tell you about the last case Louise Hay documented, a case she called the perfect manifestation. It was a woman named Elena, a single mother, 2 children, lost her job during the pandemic. She was 3 months behind on rent. Eviction scheduled for the following week. Total despair. Elena heard about the protocol through a friend who knew one of Louise Hay's assistants. She was completely skeptical about esoteric things, but she was out of options. She did the protocol at 10:22 p.m. on a Thursday, visualizing $25,000. On Friday morning, she received a call from an unknown number. It was a collection agency, but not to collect from her, to inform her that she was entitled to receive some money. Apparently, a life insurance policy that her ex-husband had taken out years ago and that she didn't even know existed had Elena as the beneficiary. The ex-husband had died in an accident 2 months earlier, but the insurance company had only now managed to locate Elena. Insurance amount, exactly $25,000. Elena was in shock, not just because of the money, but because of the perfect synchronicity. She had done the protocol with a specific amount and received exactly that amount from a completely unexpected source. But what impressed Louise Hay the most was the timing. Elena did the protocol on Thursday. On Friday, she received the call, and the insurance company said they had been trying to locate Elena for weeks, but only succeeded the night before, Thursday night. Exactly when Elena was doing the protocol, Louise Hay called this reverse synchronicity. The technique not only activated Elena to receive the money, but activated the insurance company to find Elena at the right moment, as if the protocol created a bi-directional synchronicity, aligning all parties involved in the manifestation. That was the last case Louise Hay documented. A week later, she passed away peacefully, knowing she had discovered something that could transform humanity's relationship with material abundance. And now this discovery is in your hands. You can dismiss this as fantasy. You can find 1,000 logical reasons not to believe, or you can simply test it. Grab your phone now. Open your digital payment app. Choose one of the 3 sacred times, and find out if Louise Hay was right about the digital portals of abundance. The choice is yours, but remember what she always said. The universe doesn't charge for miracles. It only requires that you be courageous enough to receive them. Maybe it's time for you to discover how much courage you have. Maybe it's time for you to open the portal. Maybe it's time for you to discover that abundance has always been a touch away. But before you do that, I need to tell you about something Louise Hay discovered in her last days. Something she called the invisible multiplier effect. Louise Hay realized that some people who did the protocol didn't just manifest money once. They started manifesting financial opportunities constantly, without even needing to repeat the technique, as if the protocol had permanently reconfigured their financial frequency. Claudia was one of those people. She did the protocol only once, manifested $30,000 in 5 days. But after that, unexpected financial opportunities began to appear almost every week. A freelance project here, a bonus there, a surprising discount, an early payment. In 6 months, Claudia had received over $200,000. Have you ever wondered about the universe's hidden pathways to abundance? How some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others struggle. Louise Hay was fascinated by this, witnessing countless instances of people unlocking seemingly limitless streams of wealth, 25 and under, in opportunities that just appeared in their lives. Louise was intrigued. Why did some people develop this multiplier effect, and others didn't? After studying dozens of cases, she uncovered the pattern. The people experiencing this multiplier effect had one thing in common. They used the manifested money exactly as they had visualized. If they visualized $25,000 to pay off debts, they paid off the debts. If they visualized $30,000 to invest in their business, they invested in their business. They didn't divert the money. They didn't save it for later. They fulfilled the energetic contract they'd made with the universe. Louise discovered that when you fulfill exactly what you promised during your visualization, you demonstrate energetic reliability to the universe. It's as if you prove you can be a partner with the universe in future manifestations. And then, the universe starts sending you opportunities constantly, without you even having to ask. Louise called this cosmic VIP status. But there's more. Louise discovered there's a hierarchy of manifestation based on what you do with the money you receive. Level 1, you use the money for basic survival, food, housing, health. The universe considers this subsistence manifestation. Level 2, you use the money to improve your quality of life, leisure, comfort, experiences. The universe considers this growth manifestation. Level 3, you use the money to create something that benefits other people, business, social project, art. The universe considers this service manifestation. Level 4, you use the money to expand your capacity to help other people, education, tools, resources. The universe considers this multiplication manifestation. The higher the level, the faster and more abundant your future manifestations become. Louise documented the case of Miguel, a teacher who used the protocol to manifest $20,000 to buy equipment and create an online course teaching math to underprivileged children. Miguel not only manifested the $20,000 in 48 hours, but in the following months, he started receiving partnership proposals, donations, and opportunities that transformed his small project into an organization that now impacts thousands of children. Louise believed Miguel had reached level 4 manifestation, where the universe becomes an active partner in his multiplication projects. People at level 4 no longer need to manifest money. Money simply flows naturally to them because they've become distribution channels of abundance for others. This led Louise to her final discovery, the most revolutionary of all. She discovered a level 5 manifestation, a level where you completely transcend the need for protocols or techniques. At this level, you become a walking frequency of abundance. Wherever you go, opportunities appear, for you and for those around you. Louise only knew 3 people who reached this level, and they all had one thing in common. They had used the digital payment app protocol not to solve their own needs, but to manifest money that they completely distributed to people in need. They gave away the money they manifested, and paradoxically, this transformed them into permanent abundance magnets. One of these people was Teresa, a retired teacher who used the protocol to manifest $50,000. When the money arrived, through a lottery prize she didn't even remember buying, she distributed it all to needy families in the community. 3 months later, Teresa began receiving invitations for lectures, consultations, and job opportunities she hadn't even sought. Within a year, she was earning over $50,000 a month simply by being herself. Louise called this financial transcendence, the point where you stop needing money and money starts needing you. But here's the most important detail. Louise discovered that you don't need to wait to manifest for yourself first to help others. In fact, it's the other way around. If you perform the digital payment app protocol with the intention of manifesting money to help a specific person, you know who is in need, the speed and precision of the manifestation multiply exponentially. Louise tested this with a group of volunteers. Each person performed the protocol, visualizing an amount to help a specific person in need. They knew 100% of the manifestations happened in less than 24 hours. All of them, without exception, something that had never happened, even in Louise's most successful experiments. She was fascinated and conducted more tests. Always the same result. When the intention is genuinely altruistic, the protocol works with a precision and speed that defies any explanation. Louise concluded that the universe has a priority lane for manifestations that will benefit more than one person. It's as if there's a cosmic law that prioritizes abundance that will be shared over abundance that will be accumulated. This completely changed Louise's understanding of manifestation. She realized that the old idea of manifesting for yourself first was wrong. The fastest way to manifest abundance for yourself is to manifest abundance for others through you. You become a manifestation channel instead of a manifestation recipient, and channels never run empty. The more that flows through them, the more capacity they develop to allow flow. In the last days of her life, Louise revised all her discoveries and created what she called the Supreme Protocol, an advanced version of the digital payment app technique that combines personal manifestation with service to others. The Supreme Protocol works like this. You choose a person you know who is experiencing real financial difficulties. It could be a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a colleague. You calculate how much money that person would need to resolve their situation. Then you calculate how much you would need to resolve your situation. You add the 2 amounts together, and that total amount is what you visualize in the protocol. But with a specific intention, This money will arrive so that I can resolve my situation and help person's name resolve their situation. Louise discovered that this protocol not only works faster, but also creates a synchronicity network that benefits far more people than just the two involved. It's as if you're hacking the universe's abundance algorithm for a more generous and expansive version. The most striking case involved John and Marina, friends facing similar financial hardships. John needed $15,000 to save his small business. Marina needed $10,000 for urgent surgery. John performed the supreme protocol, visualizing $25,000 with the intention of solving both problems. In just 18 hours, John received a business partnership offer, an offer that paid exactly $25,000 up front. He accepted, used $15,000 to save his business, and gave $10,000 to Marina for her surgery. But the story doesn't end there. 3 months later, the project John joined became an extraordinary success. John was earning over $100,000 a month, and Marina, after her surgery, landed her dream job, a job she wasn't even looking for, earning 3 times her previous salary. Louise Hay was fascinated by this case because it revealed something she hadn't anticipated. The supreme protocol not only resolves immediate situations, but it reprograms the financial trajectory of everyone involved to a much higher level of abundance. It's as if the act of manifesting to help others activates a collective abundance frequency, elevating all participants. Louise Hay called this the energetic tide effect. When you lift others, you are lifted. When you manifest for others, you are included in the manifestation in an amplified way. This led Louise Hay to her final and most profound discovery about the true nature of abundance. She realized that scarcity is always individual, but abundance is always collective. When you manifest only for yourself, you're competing with collective scarcity. That's why it's harder and slower. When you manifest for yourself and for others, you're collaborating with collective abundance. That's why it's easier and faster. The universe prefers to create networked abundance rather than isolated abundance. This explains why generous people tend to be more prosperous, not because they deserve more, but because they are aligned with the universe's natural algorithm of abundance distribution. The universe prefers to create networked abundance rather than isolated abundance. This explains why generous people tend to be more prosperous, not because they deserve more, but because they are aligned with the universe's natural algorithm of abundance distribution. In her final days, Louise Hay wrote a final discovery that changed everything. We came into this world not to accumulate abundance, but to circulate abundance. When we understand this, we become partners of the universe instead of customers of the universe. And now, you have access to all of this. You can use the basic digital payment app technique to manifest for your own needs, and it will probably work. Or you can use the supreme protocol. Choose someone you love who is struggling, manifest for both of you, and discover that shared abundance is multiplied abundance. The choice is yours. But remember, Louise Hay discovered that there's a difference between asking the universe for money and accessing the money that is already yours by cosmic right. When you truly need it, when your need is genuine, when you're willing to use that money to create more abundance in the lives of others, you're not asking for a favor. You're simply turning on a faucet that has always been available. The digital payment app is just the key. Your intention is the password. Your generosity is the authorization. And your courage is what determines whether you'll use this key or continue believing that abundance is a privilege for the few. Louise Hay passed away knowing she had discovered something revolutionary, something that can transform not only individual lives, but the way our society relates to material abundance. She passed away knowing she had left in capable hands a secret that can break the cycle of scarcity for millions of people. Now that secret is in your hands. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you keep it to yourself? Or will you discover that sharing secrets of abundance is the fastest way to multiply your own abundance? Maybe it's time for you to discover what it's like to be a partner of the universe. Maybe it's time for you to discover that the abundance you seek is waiting to flow through you, not just to you. Maybe it's time for you to open the digital payment app, not just as someone who needs to receive, but as someone who is ready to be a channel of miracles for others. And then discover that being a channel of miracles is the greatest miracle of all. The door has always been open. You just needed to discover that it opens from the inside out.